your sense of the commonality of humankind is very greatly increased. It's culturally, like, it couldn't be more different than like Western, like, urban living. You see people living in little villages without, you know, electricity, but at the same time, they're like, you see stuff that seems very, again, like what we think of as being from like centuries ago, but then they're like the herder is on his mobile phone, you know, while he's guiding his flock down the dirt road. You know, he's texting and like using the internet. The use of technology to make music is incredibly sophisticated and brilliant, and much more intuitive than I think people when people get an instrument in the West, and like, there's a certain idea of what you're supposed to do with it. Then like when the guitar was brought to Africa, people just went in totally different directions and came up with different ways of using the instrument that expressed the linguistic and musical traditions in really different ways. So people say that about like the Tomashek guitar style, where there are these little kind of intricate runs. I mean, that's one of the first tracks that I wrote for the Sway Machinery, and the whole idea was kind of, I mean, it's based on this very special poem that's said at the end of Yom Kippur. It's like, you know, open for us the gates at the last moment before the heavens are closed. And so that was our like our opener of every set, like every time we played. We're sort of mixing it up now, but for the first 5 or 6 years of the band, that was like. And it sort of has like a little bit of a feeling of like a project statement also, because that's what we're trying to do with our music. Interesting reactions, like just like kind of like, what? Oh, cool! It's interesting. I was kind of like surprise and fascination. I'd say. I mean, people really liked our music a lot and were incredibly supportive, and to the extent that people registered the fact that it was a Jewish cultural expression, it was like, yeah, it's interesting, good, you know, it's like that people could relate to the idea of wanting to draw on the spiritual tradition and making music, because everybody does that there, and like the fact that I was doing something that I learned from my grandfather, and again, all the musicians there, their grandfathers were musicians, and it's multi-generational. The griot concept is still very strong there, and that's all stuff people could relate to very, very strongly. I would say they could relate to it more easily than American audiences can. You know, I announced that one song was written by my grandfather, and people cheered when they heard that about that, which is like, I mean, again, it's like the respect for the elder generation was very, very strong. The friendly ghosts are definitely ancestral spirits that are trying to welcome into the circle, and also to learn from and to gain strength from. And it's also like, you know, the house is like, it's maybe like it's the tent in the middle of the desert that you're gonna walk up to and see what's inside, and you know, try to uncover a mystery. The House of Friendly Ghosts is also a reference to the Holy of Holies in the ancient temple, like the secret place of communion with the spirit. It's going to be different in that it focuses more on our collaborations with Super 11. The first record is more about our collaborations with Khaira and about exploring her voice and the differences and parallels between her voice and mine. Khaira's not a griot. The griot is, you're born into it, you know. So I mean, her music is given some degree of like a kind of a greater freedom by that in a way. Like it's like if you're born into a griot family, you learn all the stuff exactly the way it's done. And so I mean, a great griot will like have their own twist on it, like their own take on it, but it's quite formalized, the style. And Khaira's music, you know, she can do whatever she wants, you know, and she takes a lot of stuff from different folk music tradition, and so like her style has some of that like griot, like kind of crazy high pitched like keening, like this kind of like this piercing sound that the griots specialize in. Women griots in Mali. It's kind of a forte, like stabbing kind of sound. And Khaira gets that, and her voice in the upper register is very much like in the griot kind of sound. But then she has other stuff, like it's more bluesy, folk music oriented, like not like the professional musician, the griot style, like more like just the regular people's songs. You know, and then she's also like a creative artist. I mean, she's creating new ideas. And tourism and culture are very integrated parts of the economy in Mali. So they're both like the places of contact with the country, with the outside world. So Mali doesn't have a lot of stuff. Its economy is quite small, and people don't have a lot of money. But there are certain things which are sources of incredible wealth, like their music. I mean, it's this treasure that the country has, which it's learning more and more about how to utilize. I hope that by doing stuff like this, I can, you know, encourage people to go to Mali and to experience it for themselves, and to go to the Festival of the Desert, especially.